Hey everybody, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name's Leah Lauder, and I'm a mega church cult survivor of 18 years. I thought that I was in a church and I was actually in a cult, and I came to this realization during the pandemic. It's been absolutely crazy. I've been back and forth in my mind, lost my mind, been and gone to hell and come back again. And now I'm online and I'm exposing the church cult. If you are watching this later on, this is going to be a pre-recorded live. I'm actually actively live on TikTok right now. So you might be seeing this on Instagram or YouTube later on. So you'll hear me welcoming people because it is an interactive live. So since I've come out of the cult, I've been deprogramming and deconstructing my mind. And it's got to a point now where, since I've been speaking out, I've started to move into helping other survivors to deprogram and deconstruct their mind, which is so important because they completely break us down, our confidence, strip us of all our identity and sense of self. So there's a whole process that we have to actually go through when we come out of the cult, because what they do is they keep us trapped in the self-sealing system through very intricate psychology, which includes things like the transcendent belief system. We've also got the thought reform program, the bite model. So that's looking at authoritarian control across 4 different dimensions: the behavior, the information, thought, and emotional control. So I'm going to be breaking down a lot of these theoretical concepts because this is the only way that you can deconstruct. Because when you've been abused through the Bible and religion, you do realize that there's a lot more that goes into what we thought were so-called churches. And in order to free our mind of the psychological torment, especially because we leave with our physical bodies, but it takes us a long time to free ourselves psychologically because they've entrapped us in a mental prison. Okay, so I'm going to move over to the TikTok comments and greet people. Lay your roof in the cart. And Kaza says, I think you should speak to schools as well. This is so important. Yes, my love, I've actually set up a CIC called Hold the Hope. And there is an intention there to work with statutory services, including educational institutions. And I will start that work as I'm healing, because it's like today I'm even sick. I'm actually disabled because of the church cult. I have a long-term chronic disease called Addison's and chronic kidney disease. I also have CPTSD and borderline personality disorder. Can you let me know if you're hearing me clearly? Because I'm using my new swanky mic. I'm trying to do what podcast vibes share for my YouTube. So that's kind of where I'm at the moment. So this thing that just kept coming up, and it's been coming up, is I've had a post that's gone quite viral on TikTok. Thank you, my queen. It's got like well over 90k views. Praise be to God, the Lord is on my side. Yes. And the cult trolls are swarming in because, you know, this piece has got the cult leader Dagwood Mill's name all over it. And they've been saying some crazy comments outside in these streets. And it was this one that kind of made me a little bit like, oh God, this is quite concerning. And in the first comment, you can see it a bit because I've put some of the theoretical concepts in there because he's speaking absolute human fecal matter. So he's labeled me as a chooser of the church. The Lord knows your works. Judas, those who are ignorant, those who are accused, we know you. So this is the way they talk in the cult. And I was just sitting there thinking, this is so nerdy. Like, this is the most weird, strange behavior I've ever seen in my life. So I started thinking about it and meditating on it. And I've spoken about the pseudo personality. I've broken it down. Please go and check out my longer feature videos on YouTube. Leah Lauder 777. You might be watching me on YouTube now later, man. Just go and scroll. Go and surf the internet. Anyway, back to what I was talking about. So there's this real, like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's like an unaliving to self. And the reason why they're able to do this through the transcendental belief system so well is because, especially in Paul's works, there's a lot around unaliving to self, being this newborn creation. Paul in his works are very radical. So fundamentalist, extreme Christian groups will thrive off the works of Paul. So that's a big red flag if you're in a church cult space and it feels like you're in the church of Apostle Paul and they're preaching more about Paul than Jesus, then you need to run. Lucia in the cut. All right, so let's look at a little bit of cult psychoed to understand why these cult trolls go absolutely bonkers, why they are so weird. That's the only word I can use, is just weird. We become robots offline. I want to look at a bit of cult psychoed around this. This will be a quick live because I am unwell, but I had to come on and show up for the collective, man, because I love y'all. You might see me doing lives in the day or content depending on how I'm feeling. And this is why you can't see my face at the moment. As you can see, they've tried to report up the live, but midnight here. Midnight here. Y'all are getting exposed. You're getting exposed in the car. Love you so much. Power to the collective. Big up the collective inside. All right, let's get into it. So why are the cult trolls so weird? The first point is loss of authentic self. And this comes from Robert Lifton's thought reform. So basically, they do up this thought reform program through like Milal control. They change your identity. There's lots of different compartments to it. Go and check it out on my YouTube video. And this is basically, this is the part where you lose all authentic self. So they strip you of your identity, your autonomy, your authenticity. So they trade their own voice for the cult script. They change their own voice for the cult script. So you can see what this brother is doing up. It's like a script. Like he's named all of the cult leaders' books. He's got all of it's the cult jargon and slang. And I just thought to myself, you lot are coming in here thinking you're doing your big one, but they're not even in tune with popular culture. So it's almost like aliens, like it's very weird behavior. It's like they're not of this world. They're not of this world and they're not from this world, because when they're trapped in that self-sealing system, they're in another realm. It's Dagphodian world. It's worship of Dag Almighty. That is the vibes. All right. Thank you, Nancy. In cults, members are pressured to abandon their individuality and replace it with the cult's identity. That's the cult, the pseudo personality of the cult leader. It becomes an echo chamber. So everybody's echoing, whatever the cult leader's saying, because when you look at the characteristics of a cult, it's a charismatic leader who has authoritarian control. The cult leader is the infallible truth within the system. Okay. And because the Bible's got the infallibility to it, just like all of that, it's very rigid. So that's why they can use it to glorify themselves. And when they've got grandiose ideologies of self, they're putting on all these conferences for their narcissistic supply, for their ego candy that they need to validate themselves and keep y'all in their bubble of psychosis. But they label it and wrap it and mask it and cloak it with hyper religiosity. The conference is to save souls. Then they'll be on a narcissistic rant for half an hour and they say, give a round of applause to Jesus. So people are very immature. They're very naive. They target and recruit the vulnerable. Their prefrontal cortex has not even finished forming. They don't even know. If you ask most of these kids in these church cults, what's 7 times 8? 8 times 9? All right. 9 times 4? Okay. How about 7 times 6? Yeah. And I'm not great at maths, yeah. But it's like the basics. Most of them are doing their GCSEs or just finished their GCSEs or they're in college, yeah. What do you know when you're coming freshly out of college or you're freshly out of uni or you're freshly out of school? What do you actually know in life? Do you know what I mean? So they just target them because they're easily impressionable, naive, and they'll gulp up anything. Also, a lot of them come from deprived backgrounds. So they don't come from middle class families where they're going on holidays with the family. They're from the hood. Mummy doesn't have money to take them on holiday. Mummy doesn't have money to do anything with them on summer. So the church cult has got all of the youth there. They're doing this, they're doing that. That's all a part of GROOMN. And that's why I'm here for my people then, man. I'm here for my community. I'm here for my community because nobody cares about us. You get me? All right. Chair. This is going to be a deep one because they need to understand what they're doing up is just weird. So over time, they lose spontaneity and become rehearsed, robotic, and predictable. And this is why they have no power, because I know their next move before they're going to make it. Do you see what I mean? Because they've got all the books, they're following a script. It never changes in there. They just change up the packaging, but the tactics, everything is all the same. That's why when the cult's getting exposed, they won't take accountability. What they'll do up is damage control. It will become exasperated. It will become more hyper religious. It will become more secretive. There'll be more love bombing. They'll have more tighter systems and structures in place to carry out the ABUSE, but it will be secretive. But church cults cannot operate without implementing the cult characteristics and tactics, because no one's getting saved. Yeah, it's all psychology. I put a spell on you, and now you're mine. I put a spell on you, and now you're mine. Yes, girl. They put in a spell on you, but they want to be pointing fingers at everybody else, saying everyone else is demon, this, that. It's because they are. Yeah. That's why they're pointing the fingers, share. All right. What else are they doing up? And this is a really good example, because when you see the cult trolls in the comments and they're doing up all of this human fecal matter, guys, don't feel triggered. We have to feel happy that we're freed from this, because this is absolute, this is just, yeah. Yeah. And that's why when we think back to when we were in these settings, we were at the low of the lowest. That's when you'll find yourself in there. I was speaking to a survivor today and I was like, you've been through a lot, like me, like we've been through a lot. And that's why we didn't know it, that we were in the lowest of the lowest, because we lost our mind. You have to lose your mind to be in one of these places. I can't even lie to you. You have to be at the point of desperation, like be in crisis and desperation, or a child. Or under 18, yeah. If you're under 18, you don't stand a chance, baby. That's why I'm out here in these streets. And then if you're in uni, you know what? Just let's just call it quits at this point, because you know they've got the church cult campuses. They are running around in these student campus streets, baby, and they are indoctrinating up the students, because all of the cult, that there's a lot of cult characteristics that are already in the works. They're isolated from family members. They'll have low self-esteem. They're moving into dependence, into interdependence, where it might be the first time that they've lived away from home, had to manage their own budget. They're getting this money and when you're in uni, it feels like you're rich. £3,000 is nothing. There's people who are £3,000 to be getting paid £3,000 a month is pretty standard. All right, my loves. But when you're so young, you're like, yeah, I've got all this money. Da-da-da. And that's why they're exploiting them as well, because they'll be giving it to God. They're giving it to God. All right, babe. There's a question. If you're in uni, you're cooked. Ooh, that's what someone said there. Ooh, I like that word, cooked. Yeah. I love it, because like I'm learning all these words like from the young people, because as you know, I had to give up my promising career working in the mayor's office, managing millions of pounds of funding in Mopac chair as a program manager. I had to let go of my dream role because I was losing my mind. I was losing my blood clot mind. I couldn't even concentrate at work because of all of the abuse and the trauma. So it's nice to be back around young people and learning all the slang and whatever. Thank you so much. I'm going to be using that. All right. So mirroring the leader, narcissistic supply theory, saying the leader is the mold, the members are the clay. Woo! You are the mold and I am the clay. You are the potter and I am the clay. There's a scripture like that. There's songs we sing about that, because you know, singing in the music ministry for 18 years. If you give me any scripture, I can sing you a song off the back of it. I may not know all the lyrics from front to back, but I can give you a song that is based off that scripture. All right. And so do you see how the transcendental system comes into this? Because you've already got this ideology at play and at work within the canon Bible, because it says you are the potter, we are the clay. So there's already this narcissistic supply theory, which is that the leader is the mold and the members of the clay. So do you see how they can just intertwine that with that scripture? But really the cult leader is molding them into what he wants them to be. All right. Cult members adopt the mannerisms, speech, and even quirks of the leader. I want to put cult jargon as well. This mirroring shows loyalty and ensures survival in the hierarchy. Like Dag is a very strange character. Like he makes up words and he'll say bambleberry and he'll say things like what a message, googly gob, and he has really strange language. And in isolation, it's okay. We'd just be like, oh, you're a bit weird. But when everyone's acting that way, it's just strange. It's just strange. All right, I can't see. I knew a girl who went to Carish Church from my school and she changed completely. Hysterical. Woo, chair. Yes, they are that way inclined. They really, really are. Caris is a very hyper religious environment. David Antry has used my cult leader's whole doctrine to mold his whole ministry off. And because there's this spiritual father thing, catch the anointing, following the alos, which is the same of a different kind, being a clone, being the same of a different version. And there's a lot of like initiation with this, a lot of ritualistic practice, a lot of psychology, a lot of spell work, a lot of occult dark practices. You need to, with Dag, the law that's in operation, the spell work that he's put over that is that you basically need to let go of all yourself. So you need to give him your soul. Do you understand? So it's like you need to internalize the messages and the ideology so much that you lose yourself and you turn into a version of him, the cult clone, the pseudo personality of the cult leader. And that's what David has done. That's why Caris is a clone. But I think it is worse because David Antry's a bottom beat and, he really wants to be someone that he's not. So it's like, it's the projection, the validation. So the exposure to that desperation and that need to be accepted is greater in there. Yeah. This mirroring, and we have to remember that the mirroring is an external factor to show them, yes, you're loyal, you're a strong Christian, you'll be coming to the meetings, you're talking like us. So this girl could literally be getting her back blown out by the pastor, but because she's mirroring the pastor and the pastor's choosing her to sing or walk around, everyone's like, ooh, these times they're just in these sheets, chair. There's a lot of corruption in these spaces, chair. This is going to be a quick one, guys. As I said, I'm recording. I'm trying to give podcast vibes for my YouTube. Is it giving podcast vibes? Yeah. No, I'm like the pastor. Is it giving podcast vibes? I want you to validate me. Tell me that is true. Even though I'm using a 3-pound mic, it's not podcast. Tell me that is podcast. I want to hear it. No, Kaza, it's not enough. I need more. No, Lucia, I need more. That's literally what they're like. It's false. It's false light in the occult. The pastor becomes God and understands himself to be God. Woo! So when he's preaching, he's talking about himself subconsciously to the congregation. I like 36. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah! No, I like you, baby. Oh my God, I'm feeling what you're talking about, man. That's absolutely great. Yes, the subconscious, the psyche. I've got a woke one in the cut. That's exactly what they do up. I don't even need to add anything. Yeah. I'm going to repeat this though. So when the cult leader is preaching, he's talking about himself subconsciously to the congregation. It's the grandiose images of self. It's the malignant narcissism, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, we've got some good people on today, chair. That's why they think I care about views. Like when they report me, they try and get me off. Like, babes, I don't care. I don't care. That's why I record everything now, chair. I got an upgrade phone. The Lord has been good. And then it's just about having the right people because I prefer quality over quantity. I prefer to be at a lovely restaurant with about 3 people. And everybody's got the right vibe, the right energy. No one's bringing anyone down. Everyone's lovely. We're having a brilliant time eating beautiful food. Then be like with 1,000 people having a meal. Having real people around you, having true people that have your back, that really care about you, that ain't, leeches. That is a blessing. That is rare to find, yeah. And I really think that we found that in the survivors. Never ever stop talking about this. Girl, I won't 18 years of my life. Kaza, you see, right now, yeah, I had to speak to a survivor this morning to be able to do my shopping. Yeah. I've been so weak. I don't get ill like normal people because I've got Addison's. My immune system is compromised. I've got one adrenal gland, girl, and a kidney that's fighting for its life. Yeah. 18 years of my life. I'm even lucky. I was thinking about my daughter, my eldest, that's 11. Like, if God didn't save me and take me out of that place, my daughter would have, she would have felt the impact of it. It would have destroyed her. So there's a lot that I can't forget. Do you know what I mean? My mental health is a reminder. The fact that I'm not working is a reminder. The physical pain, the chronic pain, the chronic fatigue is all a reminder, girl. You get me? I can't even have a man. I can't even get my back blown out at the moment. Not because I'm not ready, yeah. Whoever's gonna come get this, all I'm gonna say is, yeah. But it's not that, it's my mental health. I'm a vulnerable adult. I can't leave myself vulnerable and open myself up to the man them. Are you all right? I'm just about holding on to my mind by I'm holding on by a string. So in getting to know myself, in deconstructing and deprogramming, in loving myself, part of that choice was I need to become celibate as a part of my spiritual practice for this season. I don't know when it's going to end. I don't know how long it's going to be for, but I need to do this for self to just protect and safeguard myself. But as I said, guys, I could meet the love of my life next week. Yeah. I could meet the love of my life next week. Yeah. Do you get what I'm saying? And then I could be getting my back blown out. I don't know. But for now, and that's what they do with religion. They put laws and rules, and so it's like the forbidden cookie jar. Do you know what I mean? You can't. Why are you going to tell someone you can't eat from the cookie jar? Do you know what I'm saying? They're going to proceed to eat from the cookie jar. So, God doesn't move like these religions. You know what I mean? God moves like in seasons and cycles, and he flows. God flows like a river. It's that type of vibe. It doesn't feel like judgment and, all of these rules and regulations and instructions and orders. Permission to leave, Pastor. Permission to go where? Oh, remember, Pastor, I told you that I have to take my mom to that hospital appointment. No one can take her. Oh, yes, I remember you told. Okay, you are released. Yeah. Cognitive dissonance. And this is Festinger's theory. And this is to avoid the pain of doubt. They double down on devotion. Yeah. So that's the cognitive dissonance, and the thought blockers will come into it as well. That's why I just laugh when they comment and they get so wound up and they proceed to put more comments. And it just helps my algorithm. Like this post was at about 80,000. I don't know how it got on the Ghana side of TikTok. Maybe I did tag them, but yeah, they've been coming in and they've just been pushing the post. It's over 91. And I'm like, this is cognitive dissonance, because you see it and you feel like you have to say something. But the foolishness is that in you commenting, you're not doing anything. You're not making people feel like, oh yeah, the post is wrong. You're not doing anything like that. You're actually helping to push the post. Because even when I respond with laughing emojis, that's interaction, yeah. So you're actually helping me to push my post. Thank you. Haters make the world go round, yeah. That's why divorced women, why do you think they have that glow up? Because it's like, I'm going to show you. Like, are you all right? Like, you thought you could do this? Yeah. It's energy. You get me? I just manipulate their energy. That's all I do, because they don't understand it, because they're brainwashed. If anything, their comments just clarifies all that's going on. Yeah. You're right, Queen. It also validates what we're saying, because there was actually a girl under the comments and she put, it's so strange how they think that mass commenting is going to make this change people's minds. And you know what? I was like, oh my God, look, this is a random stranger. Like some random woman called Karen, from Scotland. She's just come she can see it. But they gaslight so much, and that's what makes it so difficult when you leave to speak out, because it's like you've got to like internalize that the cult leader is absolute human fecal matter. Like you've got to really, I would say, not to get into things in a certain way until you've internalized it, like it, and you see these people as actual clones. Like nothing that they say affects you. It doesn't affect your psyche. It doesn't affect your day. It doesn't affect nothing. So you need to go deep into cult psycho ed and really understanding the psychology and the manipulation. Everything can come later, Jaya. Everything can come later. You need to deprogram your mind. Yeah. Love a good old Karen girl. So do I, Jaya. So when doubts or contradictions appear, members resolve the inner tension by becoming even more extreme in their obedience, which looks bizarre from the outside. So it's like their pastor could have just been exposed, for essaying and graping gal them. Look at V to V. Remember when Pastor Douglas got sentenced? I think it was for like 7 years, doing up that to the gal them in the church. There were women outside of the court crying and praying for this man. That is probably one of the best examples of cognitive dissonance that I could use. All right. Then we've got the hive mind, group think. I thought this said group tank think. But anyway, group think, and this is the Janis theory. So it's the whole ideology that in the hive, only one mind is allowed. Chair! This is Dag and Mill's chair. So Dag's the queen bee. Oh my God, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make a picture and put Dag there and put a bee on top of his head and then try and put them all in a beehive. Oh my, I love getting creative, Jer. I think I'm going to expand on this ideology. It's not a theory. What is it? It's in CIA classified files. What is in CIA classified files, Jer? What's in the CIA classified files 36? Tell us more. Independent thought is there. Actually, you're not allowed. How dare you? No. 36. How dare you come and correct me on my life? What do you think this is? Yes, no. That's why they get so angry, when someone like corrects you, or it's not even correction. It's just my man's opinion. Yeah. He's got some different knowledge. Do you understand what I'm saying? And these are the things that you need to work on when you come outside, because this is what I'm talking about deconstructing and deprogramming, because you're very proud, very prideful. You've got a lot of ego when you're in there. You shut down. You think you know everything. I'm right, you're wrong. I'm big, you're little. I'm tall, you're small. It's like that. Very black and white thinking, very archaic, old school concepts. Yeah. That's what they're very dogmatic thinking. Very, very, it's because you have to remember the narcissist has the mental age of about an 11-year-old. All right. So that would mean that I could argue it's lower with Dag, but that would mean that the members are like more like babies. Do you understand? Because that's the rewiring of the brain. He's indoctrinated us to become like babies. That's why in these church cults, there'll be a lot of talk around becoming a newborn babe, desiring the earnest, sincere milk of the word. There's a lot of comparisons around renewing the mind, transforming the mind, becoming a new creation, a new person. That's why they like Paul's scriptures, because he talks about becoming a new creature. All of those things. It's very much like that. There's a lot of like instructions on how to like the structure of a church, how to manage it, etc. There's a lot of that in there. So that's why they like doing it, because that's why they like using Paul's works, because it's very institutionalized. Those are the works that they use to really build the church, I believe. Yeah. All right. So independent thought is dangerous in a cult. So members suppress their critical thinking to maintain harmony and approval, which creates that yes personality. I also want to add that the yes people are in literal, it's actual psychopathy at this point. Do you get what I'm saying? So he's got them in his bubble of psychopathy, and they just say yes to everything. He could be telling them, the sky is green, and they're going to believe it. I was thinking about my cult leader yesterday, because he's like the German leader. And I said, it's so sad, because even if this guy was to get exposed in a way where it was undeniable, because of the cognitive dissonance, there are still, hard followers, where he would at least have at least one or up to 3 people that would be in that bunker with him, like the German leader, and just be like, I can't do it anymore, because they're that devoted to him. They love him that much that they can't live without Dag. They can't live without Dag Mills. Like that's the reality. You become so codependent that you feel like you can't live without your leader, your monk, your shepherd, your pastor, your LP, the WOG, whatever. It got to the point, guys, where I'd be crying my eyes out for my pastor, because I loved him so much. That's why when I saw that video of Nisi doing that with her the husband, I said, nah, this ain't normal. This woman's got a lot of trauma, because if you're acting like that over a man, do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. If you're acting like that over a man, like, babes, you need to love yourself. You need to heal from the trauma. That's what I'm saying. There's so much pressure in these spaces for women to get young. The women should be focused on healing from their childhood trauma, because that's why they're there. But they will never spit these facts to them, because they don't want them to gain their independence. They don't want them to become their own person. Because when you look at the bite model, which is what we're moving on to now, the influence continuum, you can see both the negative and positive influence across that continuum. You can see that positive leadership will look like autonomy, people growing in their creativity, becoming who they're meant to be, flourishing in their gifts and talents. It won't be, like a siphoning of the energy. I was just trying to see if I had the influence continuum. Oh, this is way too big, Chair. Oh no! Let me just put the other one back up, Chair, because I've explained it now. But I thought it might be quite nice if we could get it up, but I haven't fixed it. All right. Identity erosion. So this is taken from the Bite model, Stephen Hassan, and the whole ideology is that control. Okay, so his whole ideology is that when you control the body, the beliefs will follow. Okay, so through constant rehearsals, prayers, services, and rules, the cult reshapes the person's identity until their entire being is oriented around obedience. And we can also put in there there's the repetition, the ritualistic practices, and then that is packaged in the form of meetings, rehearsals, prayers, prayer meetings, services, outreach, all these rules, all these things that they make up in their breakfast meeting, women's empowerment conference. They put all of these things in place to create a system, because the cult leader used to talk about this a lot. Dag knows a lot of psychology. Like after 27 days or whatever, you develop a habit. So that's why they want you to be rooted, committed, come in, all of that, because it will become a habit. It will become familiar to you. It will become a part of your routine in your psyche. Then they've got all of these like different systems and constructs and psychology that they're using to make you become codependent. So it's your world. It turns into your routine. It's all you've got. Role of fear and shame, behavioral conditioning, saying weirdness is the armor that keeps punishment away. So members exaggerate devotion, acting over the top, nerdy, robotic, because they know failure to conform could mean shaming, exclusion, or even eternal damnation. So they literally think that, this cult is the only way to heaven. That's why they won't take no for an answer when they see you on the street. That is religious psychosis. We've told you we're going to a church, babe. Thanks, but no thanks. Oh God, no. They're not believing you, you're not telling the truth. You're not a Christian. They're telling you you're not, if that is not religious psychosis, tell me what is. How are you going to tell me what I am and why not? Oh, let me guess. Your prophetic utterances. Sometimes I feel like just going to one of these churches or conferences just to embarrass them. You know what I mean? Like do the vulnerable and then get them to try and prophesy in my life. Let's see if it's true. Let's see if it is true. Can you prophesy? Because I don't think you'll be able to see anything about me, Jer, because you'll be blocked. Spiritually protected. Yes. I did that in uni, I can't lie. Did you join one of these cults? I want to just quickly focus on the fear of going to HELL and eternal damnation, because that is the reason why a lot of people stay in these environments, and also for lack of knowledge, our people perish, When you look back at colonialism, because they're just like, those masters, that's all they are, Chair. We're still picking in the cotton field. That's why a lot of the comments that you see are from Ghanaians, because the way that they worship Dag over there is crazy. Like they are actually like, it's like they're from those days back then. And Dag is like the colonizer. So that is why there's this level of worship and just beggary. I had to make up a word. Oh, look, I'm like Dag. It's just begging. Yeah. But that's how Dag wants you to be. Dag, you see these cult leaders, they want you to be groveling. They want you to be begging. That's also a form of supply, to get you attached and then break you down and then make you treat you like human fecal matter, because it's they're sadistic as well, so they like to see it like you upset. Like, how do you cope without them? Like my pastor's wife used to do it to me all the time. She used to give me silent treatment. Remember when my sister came on the live, this woman would just stop talking to me for absolutely no reason. They're not all right. They're unhappy in their marriages. They got undiagnosed mental health. Guys, it's deep, because these people have not healed from any trauma. It's like putting makeup on and then underneath your skin is all dry. You're not doing anything up, but you're just slapping on the makeup every time, not helping your skin gel. That's what it's like, guys. It is mental in there. Malignant narcissism is the system. To survive in the cult, you must become a mini version of its god, put on the pseudo personality of the cult leader, become obedient, submit to social conformity, become like everybody else. The cult leader's narcissism is contagious. The members become narcissistic echoes, imitating the leader's obsessions, language, and even facial expressions. Do you know that I remember there was a pastor, they've discarded him now, Bishop Adi Chair. I wonder why. I wonder why he's been discarded. And what's it? One time he was preaching, he was like, "Oh, I want to be just like Dag." He was like, he buys clothes like Dag, he preaches like Dag, he does gestures, moves like Dag. He said the only thing that's not Dag is his skin color. He said if he could be light skinned, he would. That's how obsessed they are in their chair. But come on, guys, the worship in Africa is different. Even when you look at Christianity, do you know what I mean? They've been programmed like that. That's why I had to deprogram my mind from the African auntie, like the Proverbs 31 archetype, because they are some of the most evil, wicked women in these church settings I've ever met in my life. I'm gonna restart, guys. Suck your mother.